everyone, again today I've got another new spot. I'm still trying to find a good spot to film these, but anyway, today I wanted to talk to you about basically how to get good at maths. So I went to an English school, but I'm going to try and make this as applicable as I can no matter where you're from. Basically, I was going to fail my GCSEs in maths. If you're not familiar, GCSEs are a qualification you get when you're 16 at English schools, and they're just important for everything. Like, it's a very bare minimum requirement for anything basically. So I was going to fail my maths GCSE, and then I got good at maths, and then I got A at maths GCSE, then I got A star maths A level, B in further maths, and now I'm studying maths at the University of Nottingham. So you might be thinking, how? And yes, I will explain to you, because let's be clear, I didn't like maths at the time. I hated it. So it took a lot for me to do all that work and get to where I am now, and now I really like maths. So yeah, I was like failing every test. I got like 8 out of 70 on one test. I was just so bad. Right up until year 10, which is 14 to 15 years old. During that summer, I don't know, it was just a book I was reading or something like that, where it mentioned Isaac Newton, I think, and it was saying he was really bad at maths and then he got good, and I was like, well, if he was really bad at maths and he could do it, then so could I guess. And that was what sort of gave me that idea. And also that summer I was really bored, so I had nothing else to do. So what happened was, our school had a subscription to an online maths learning platform called My Maths, and on My Maths it organised things by grades. You could do maths things for people who were grade D to C, C to B, you know, just to get good at those. So what I thought during that summer was I would do all of those, and I would try and get green smiley faces on all of them, and to get the green smiley faces you need to get 75%. So I used the My Maths notes and my own notes that we had in class, and I just basically spent that summer doing just all the exercises on My Maths. So I did all these exercises, and a lot of them were really hard. It was stuff I wasn't used to, but I really wanted to get like at least 75% on all of them, because my reasoning was to myself that if I do these exercises I can't exactly get worse, if that makes sense. I'm either going to stay the same or get better, most likely get better. So I did these exercises, and if you don't have My Maths or you want to do something similar, I'm sure there's many things online you can find where you could sort of gamify or quantify the sort of exercises you want to do. Maybe if you're doing GCSE maths, you could write out all the topics that are on your syllabus, which you can find online, or your teacher may have given it to you. Write out all the topics and think, right, I'm going to find questions for these online, and I'm going to try and do as many of them as I can, and then go back until I've got them all at least 75% or something like that. Apologies, my camera just died, so I've just spent like an hour charging the battery and we should be fine now. Anyway, where was I? So that was how I basically got good at maths, the first big jump that was over the summer. And then I came back to school and suddenly everything was a lot easier, a lot of it made more sense, felt a bit more confident to speak to my teachers, and my teachers were really happy and impressed, which was great. And yeah, and I just carried on with the GCSE things, and when it came to the weeks before the actual GCSE exam, I did the same thing essentially. I got a copy of the GCSE syllabus off the internet, and I went through all the topics and I ticked them off once I was sure that I could do them properly. And then it came to A level, and I've got to admit I struggled a bit with A level at first. I really struggled to adjust in year 12, which is 16 to 17 years old. I struggled to cope with A level stuff at first. I found a lot of it quite difficult. And we also had a new teacher, and he was because I'd previously been self-teaching maths, I didn't really have much structure to my mathematics. So when I had this new teacher, it was a big shock, but it was one of the best things that happened, because it really helped me structure my mathematics and my arguments a lot, which is really helpful for university and A level. And I make sure to always set out my maths work and keep it organised, because that helps so much when you come back to it. So that's another recommendation, always keep your maths work organised, number every question. If you're doing question 5 and then you're going on to the next page, still write question 5 in the margin, things like that. Although I struggled with the first year of A-level, when it came to the second year I found I was a lot more fluid, especially with stuff that we'd done in the first year, and it came a lot easier to me. And I think it just took me that first year to just gradually transition to what A-levels expected of me and how to write out my work. And then once I came into year 13 I was much more confident with it. And after that I came to uni, the University of Nottingham, and I've kept in mind the things that my teachers taught me to do with structuring my work. And a piece of advice I'd give for doing maths at uni and just maths in general is to always structure your work and always do the problem sheets that you're given. That is one big mistake that I have made. Ask questions, you know, that one's a bit obvious. Oh, and the last one, which is really important and something I failed to do in first year and paid a price for it, don't switch off if you just start talking in lectures about stuff you've already covered. So for example, you've done further maths A level, and in the lectures they start talking about complex numbers and introducing you to complex numbers. The mistake I made in those lectures was I switched off because I was like, I already know this. But they do a very quick introduction, but then they'll go into more complex stuff or perhaps different stuff you haven't covered before and you won't notice. So that was a mistake I made. So don't do that. And yeah, so that was basically how I got good at maths. A lot of people spend lots of money buying textbooks and things, but honestly, all the resources you can find online, free, really useful. Do loads of past papers as well. Past papers are really good for getting an idea of how questions are. I want to show that maths is a bit more accessible than you might think it is. Like I said, you don't need to spend money on any expensive textbooks. You can find it all online, which is great. And yeah, so that's it from me today. And I'll see you guys soon. If you've got any more questions about learning maths or any maths video ideas you'd perhaps like me to do, then feel free to comment them down below. Classic line, that is, classic YouTuber line. And yeah, I'll see you soon. Bye.